Hey everybody, it's Ron from Pick Dawgz, and this is Ron's Bank Shot Breakdown. We're going to go over 5 college basketball games for Sunday, November 13th, 2022. Now, if you like what you see, make sure to give this video a big thumbs up and subscribe to our channel. Helps us out a ton. And don't forget to put your college basketball plays in the comments section below. Again, if you're looking for my best bets, you can always find those at the Premium Picks tab at pickdawgz.com. Alrighty, let's get into it. Here are the college basketball games for Sunday, November 13th. First up, we see Central Michigan taking on Eastern Illinois. Central Michigan laying 8.5 points, totals at 135. We saw Central Michigan play Marquette in their first game of the season. I actually like Central Michigan in that game. They failed to cover the number for us, but I was impressed with a few things that they had. 73 points scored against the Big East team on the road, and it was basically a sold-out gym. Not too shabby for Central Michigan. They have some issues defensively, that's for sure. We knew that going into the season. This was not going to be a very good defensive team, but I thought that their offense, especially in the second half, got going, and at the end of the first half as well. And facing an Eastern Illinois team that just doesn't have the same offensive firepower as a Marquette does, I think Central Michigan has a good bounce-back spot here, and laying less than double digits, I'm willing to lay the points here with CMU. Marquette had an unbelievable shooting night against Central Michigan in that game. The first half was all about the three-point shot. The second half, all about the two-pointers. But unbelievable shooting performance from Marquette. You just don't see that with Eastern Illinois this season and last year. You look at last year's numbers, ranked 357th in adjusted offensive efficiency and 351st in effective field goal percentage. You go to this year, they've scored 57 and 49 points in their first two games, both against Division I opponents. They're ranked 359th in adjusted offensive efficiency and ranked 320th in effective field goal percentage. I just don't think that Eastern Illinois is going to be able to score with Central Michigan. This is a pretty solid offense, in my opinion. Works pretty fast. Some really good shooters on this team. I think CMU has enough offensive firepower to win this game and cover the numbers. So give me CMU laying the points at home. See Colorado taking on Tennessee. The Buffs are getting 10.5 points in this one. Totals at 140. Now, because of Colorado's upset loss to Grambling State in their last game, I actually think there is some value with the Buffs in this game. I think Colorado's a lot better than that loss that they just took, and they're in the top 100 of Ken Pom for a reason. I think they've improved quite a bit from last year. And when you look at Colorado, I think the big advantage that they have offensively is the fact that they're able to get to the free throw line very often, and they're a pretty good free throw shooting team. Last year, ranked 50th in the top 50 in free throw percentage as a team, 75.6%. And Tennessee last year was a team that struggled getting into foul trouble pretty early on into games. I could see that being an issue for the Vols early on in this one, having to play a lot of their bench guys. Now, this is still a loaded team, a very deep team, and a talented team. I think this is a team I would put a futures bet on for in terms of a Final Four appearance, and the SEC is loaded overall as a conference this year. But I could certainly see this game being a little bit slower paced. I think Colorado actually has a fighting chance to at least cover the number. I don't think they're going to be able to pull off the upset win, but you got a team coming off a tough upset loss on the road here against a ranked opponent. I do think Colorado will be able to get up for this game and compete in this one. Give me Colorado here plus the 10.5 points. Just a lot of points to lay in a game like this, in my opinion. Next up, we see North Texas taking on St. Mary's. St. Mary's laying 7.5 points. Total is at 123. This is one of the lower totals you're going to see all college season, and for good reason. Both of these teams were in the top 25 in adjusted defensive efficiency, and both teams love to work very slow offensively. Last year, St. Mary's ranked 327th in average possession length on offense, and North Texas even slower, 358th. So we should see a slow-paced and defense-first type of game in this one. But you could look at the under in this game, but there's just not a lot of value. It's at 123. It's already a very low number. So to me, I think there's value with taking the underdog plus the points. The first game for North Texas this season, they were without Tyler Perry. They played a subdivision school, a D2 school. They struggled. They only won by 6 points in the end. The defense looked strong. The offense really didn't do too much, but Tyler Perry was day-to-day for that game. They didn't want to risk further injury, so they sat him out. He should be back, it's 6 days after that game. I would think that that's enough time to rest to be able to get him to go into this game. It's a pretty important one for the program on the road against a tough St. Mary's team. But even if he's not able to play in this one, I still think North Texas defense is good enough to keep this game rather close. You're getting 7.5 points in a total. That's 123. You're getting a good amount of the line with North Texas here. I'm going to take the points here with the mean green. I think it's going to be a very close game. Maybe the last team with the ball wins it. Next up, we see Portland State taking on Seattle. Seattle laying 11 points in this one. Totals at 148.5. I just don't love this spot here for Portland State. I do think Seattle will win this one and cover, even though Portland State was able to cover their first game against Portland, 98-91. They were getting double digits in that one. The offense looked good, but the defense really struggled in that game, and Seattle does a good job at not only forcing turnovers, but limiting turnovers on the offensive side of things. This year, they've already had a great start to the season in both of those categories, and last year especially. And, Seattle, this is a really solid defense. I think the WAC has a few teams that have really, really good defenses. We've seen Sam Houston State, for example, play very well defensively on the road at Oklahoma in their outright upset win. And I think we're going to see a few big-time upset victories from some WAC teams. We've seen it in recent years as well from teams like Abilene Christian, very good defensive school. So I like Seattle this season, and I do think even though they lost some production offensively, Trammell was a big loss, who moved on to San Diego State. But I still think this team has enough offensive firepower, very good enough, more than well enough defensively. And Portland State on the road, only one day off, just a really bad spot here. Give me Seattle laying the points here. I think they're going to win this by 15+. Next up, our final game for Sunday's card, Montana State and Long Beach State. Long Beach State laying 4 here. Total is at 147.5. I'm going to take the over in this one. I think we see a back-and-forth game, and I think we're going to see both teams kind of run up and down the court. We saw Long Beach State last year ranked 9th in the nation in average possession length. We're already seeing them in the top 25 this season, and they're going to score plenty of points per game. They scored 79 in the first game. They were top 100 in the league, in the nation last year in three-point percentage, but they're also going to give up a good amount of points. They gave up 93 to UCLA last time out, and even though Montana State plays a little bit of a slower pace, I also think that this is Montana State offense is an offense waiting to break out. Their first game against Grand Canyon, a very tough WAC defense. Like I mentioned, those defenses in the WAC this year are the real deal. They only put up 54 points, but they do have a player in Jabril Bello that I think could be the #1 player in the Big Sky Conference. And I don't love the defense outlook for Long Beach State in the front court. I do think Bello could have a monster day in this one. I think Long Beach State has plenty of scores that could have also really big days in this game. So I think we see a very fast-paced game, high-scoring one. Give me the over 147.5 to end the night. And that's it. Those are the games we're going to talk about for Sunday's card in college hoops. Hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe. And don't forget to put your college basketball plays in the comment section below. Again, if you're looking for my best bets, you can find those at Pickdawgz Premium. As always, this is Ron Romanelli. We'll be back to the regular location tomorrow. Thanks for tuning in. I'll see you. Good luck.